can have various sectors in the government that can bring some level of progress, and having their own uh, control of certain areas. So, for example, if we talk about, the national oil company, we should now start finding strategies where we can discover oil in this country and be able to refine, produce, and refine our own gas and oil. If we talk about,
Hmm.
you know, different sectors in the government, the National Housing Authority, we should be able to build homes and give to people for minimum amount to be able to,
Of
reduce the cost of a living in a house in this country, like other countries are doing. It happened in Ghana, it happened in Canada, and I'm
hmm
just saying this to say that, this is a fine initiative. If this can just be trickled down to other government entities that have similar functions as, lands and mines or Ministry of Mines. I think you'll be able to have your function, but again, having your function, you also able to be able to manage a company that will also be sourcing some of these same materials out of those area that other people come and exploit the country from. So mind you, if Liberia is to be able to mine maybe uh 30 million ton of gold in a period of 2 3 months, you think we will want to give money a gold contract to foreigner coming and asking us, oh, I can't be mining gold, because you already know how much you generate and benefit from said
course.
business. So you better use those funds coming in by yourself to invest into more equipment and develop your country, develop various sectors. And trust me, if we can build on those ideas, I think government now will now fully rely on, these individuals coming, of donor partners coming in to help us, give us some chicken change that they don't want to use in their home. We appreciate whatever, the partners are doing for the government. But again, we just want to say that the initiative is something that is really really good, and I think the president should be able to send that to the House of Rep, and they should be able to, put that into full swing, not just passing something into law or bill into law, but again, when it passed, there should be some level of implementation and impact as well, like you said. So if we are to implement, the common people should be able to have an impact from whatsoever government is doing. That is why, we go on election day and elect leaders, and these leaders at the end of the term, we expect them to do something great to benefit us, to benefit our people, to benefit our children. So that is it.
Yeah. Sure. Like you
Yeah.
said,
So
like places like Nigeria, right? They will do real estate, for their citizens. Let's say you want to venture into real estate, the government has that, arm of the government taking that initiative. You build houses and let's say give it to nurses or doctors, maybe teachers, and say, well, you can have this, and over the time when you work, the government can be able to take this from you. I think these are all things that Liberia should start looking forward to so that we can really move forward to advance in this country. Because if we cannot have control on some of these things, so we're going to have people coming in and just control the entire economy. Like today, if few guys just go and sit somewhere and say, well, we're going to raise our the price of rice, and sometimes we see it happening. So sometimes people will just go and sit somewhere in one corner and make decisions and say, well, as of today, we are going to raise rice price up. And twinkle of an eye, we see the rice price going up because we have not been able to control our own economy, and these things continue to happen.
mhm.
So I think the government can use this as a, let's just say, a pilot initiative to begin with. And if this work, then they can move on to other government agency. That is going to be a good thing for us.
Exactly. And like I said, order for me, my main focus would be, not just about us having these things in into law and with no implementation. So if we talk about Ministry of Agriculture, I was opportune to attend one of the government's strategic programs when I heard the agriculture minister speak, and I was like, I think there's something being done, but again, there is more that is needed to be done because we cannot be relying. Trust me, we can't fully be relying on these people. Look at what is happening globally now. You got Iran, you get Israel, you get America, and some other countries are, you know, blasting each other, their national resources, destroying them. Now, since we don't have the capacity, the means to be able to, produce our own oil and gas here, when the price goes high, it falls on the common people. At the end of the day, we all will have to feel, the consequence of whatever effect that is going to have. We talk about rest, like you said. Ministry of Agriculture have been proven to us over the past 2 decades that they are able to produce, they are able to fuel half of the population that we don't even have much. People like China and India that support us with rice in this country, they do have bigger population than we do. We just have a little over 5 million people in our country. I think is something that we should be able to do. And if we can just fuel the 5 million people, we should be able to fuel at least a little over half of the amount. And again, it's something that we critically needs to look at. James left. We critically needs to look at, and again, is really serious that we take a look at it and be able to do the necessary thing that we can, because Liberia is is a place that, you know we all need what we need is a government that will be implementing things that they say they are going to do. So we shouldn't just fully rely on the outside world to be able to do what we want them to do for us. But again, I think is a very very great initiative, and good that James is back. Very great initiative, and I think a lot of people, yeah, a lot of people are moving uh, towards such initiative that we are now thinking about. So, and things are getting tough every day. Things are getting tough. So we have to now start to develop strategies that we can use as a country to be able to develop ourselves and our people. Oh, James, you left, but great that we have you back. So, another talking point is this information. I just want to play this clip. Is from Verity's page. I'm not gonna download to play it. So I will, directly play this clip from their page, so that our viewers can see what we're talking about, right? So this is the clip.
from
Okay, I think it's loading. It'll take a while to play. Yeah, but I just want to play it directly from their page, so that I don't know why it's taking long.
tell us your name.
My name is Agnes Ahimi.
Okay. Do you care to tell us how did your child got in contact with this pastor in question?
Yes, I used to live Kongwatan Park Road with my late husband, and this pastor used to come to my husband as a friend, and he used to sit down and talk, and they would eat together, and then he would leave from time to time until 2016. 16 when my husband passed away. The funeral service was held in his church, and he was around me, encouraging me, comforting me, along with my family members. We had a funeral service in his church, and then we buried my husband. After his burial, I decided to move to Mount Barclay there because this is where we bought our land and we built a house. So I left Congo Town and I moved with my children to Mount Barclay. At that time, my son had just turned 10 years old, May 25th, and his father died on the 7th of June. So that I moved in Mount Barclay. When I moved in Mount Barclay, this pastor, Abe, used to always call me. Oh, Mistress Ahimi, how are you and the children? I said, oh, we thank God, thank you. We are doing well. And that's how I stayed in Mount Barclay. By that time, my son passed to the sixth grade. And by the grace of God, selling my little market and other things, God helped me. I sponsored my son into school, my two children. My daughter was the first to graduate. And then 2024, my son also graduated. He was at the age of 17. But before my son graduated, as I said, this pastor always used to call me. Oh, Mistress Ahimi, how are you and the children? I said, okay. He said, oh, well, where are you? When I tell him I'm at the house, he said, okay, are you able to come over to the house? When I'm able, I will say, yeah. When I'm not able, I'll tell him no. He said, but when you have chance, then you come. When I go there, sometimes he will give me a bag of rice. Sometimes he will put $10 over it. Sometimes 20. Maybe during Christmas season, he will make it 50 or 100. And that's how it has been on and off, on and off, on and off. So when Jason was now 17, going to 18, and he knew that Jason was going to graduate from high school, that day he came. He drove here with his car, and he came to me. Myself, I was surprised to see him. Then he said, after he looked around the compound and everything, then we now sat down in the church. He said, you know, Jason now, he's going to be 18. And at that age, the children, they can follow background. So he said, I will be counseling him small, small. Sometime I will send for him. He will come to the house there where he will spend the weekend.
Yeah, so James, you listened to that video. I was just playing it for our audience.
Yeah, yeah.
We have watched it. We okay. It's still playing at the back. I'm sorry. From my end. Okay, I'm good now. Okay. Yeah. So like I said, we have played the video, and okay, and that video is something that we wanted to play for our audience. That's the reason why we were playing that. And you listen to an explanation, and the court too is saying something different. And we will pull on the court information of what they are saying after the publication. We saw uh, one Anthony Mariah was right, and yeah, based on the story, you have activist Martin Colley also apologizing, but you followed the situation, James, and I don't know what you think about the story. They like
Yeah. So what I see is that uh right now what we do have is people sometimes rush with breaking the news, and that was something that we actually did in the school of journalism. And
yeah,
sometimes people who rush to break the news at time, most time they don't get it right. So it's always good that you do all of your investigation, and you don't have to rush with news, even though news is about timing. But once you haven't got the information rightly, you don't have to rush, to breaking it. It's better you be the last to break the news, but get it right, other than you being the first, and maybe you just want to get that glory, and at the end of the day, you get it wrong. So this is the case that we are currently faced with in our country. The issue about social media, people want to be like, they want to have followers, they
Yeah, I
want to have
usually call them
views.
social media journalists.
Okay, so that's the problem we actually have. The social media journalists, or let's say community journalism, have been mixed with the traditional journalism. So
Mhm.
as a traditional journalist, you're gonna know, what to do when you have such a case like this before coming up with your publication. What you need to do, that is, you got to have the both party, or there are some things, strategies you got to do before coming up with any information like this, because once an allegation of shots come out and you are not careful, at times you as a journalist, you even get involved into it. So that is
Of
why
course.
breaking news stories, you got to be very, very careful, as a media person here. But this is the kind of situation we have currently, in our country. Like a recent, we saw even bigger media platform. I saw bigger media platforms carrying informations of a guy who were believed to have raped, two chickens, right, in Nimba. But at the end of the
Mhm.
day, the story was different from what they were posting, because, like I said, people just want to get views, people want to get, comments. But I think that's something we are doing that is also damaging our country. Media personnel, or in fact, as a citizens, we should be able to authenticate that information before coming up with it. So that information actually is speed up very fast, because once you say, well, somebody rape a chicken, people get interested into it. People
Mhm.
get interested. So everybody was going after that. At the end of the day, when the police did their investigation, it was different from what people were reporting. So I've always advised people that we all need to be careful, even though you want to have you want to have followers, you want to have views, you want to be recognized, right? But do something different way to getting that recognition. People are going to follow you for the factual stories that you report. It's not a
Yeah, of
fake one.
course.
Because once you do that, your integrity, is being like compromised, or your integrity is being at stake right there. People
Mhm.
not going to trust you anymore. Let's say you reported on series of stories, maybe twice or triple, and all of them was wrong. Will you have people even trusting you again? It's not going to happen. So the issue of the pastor, I've listened to the mother, and then people were like very fast to come out and say, well, it's the pastor who Mass the boy, and what of you, because the boy lived with him. So whatever happened, he is the one responsible. And as I sat back in my son mind and said, well, sometimes this is not hard. In fact, the code procedure work, because somebody will just sit in their little thinking and say, well, because the boy lived with the pastor, so anything that happened, he's the one responsible. In fact, of him, you don't do that. Because have you even have a fight, or document in your hands to prove that, yes, the hospital have done a check and say, well, the boy was being sodomized, and how did the thing even happen? You don't have anything to that, and you just carry on a very huge allegation against somebody. We should not be fast to doing this to ourselves, because today you could do it to somebody, tomorrow it could be you. The same way
Mhm.
you will be forced to run with somebody, issue today, tomorrow somebody will also run with yours. So that's one thing I don't want to do always. I'm very careful about giving out information, because what you give out represents you. If you give out any information that is not factual, it means you yourself, people will not trust you anymore. You are not somebody that people should trust. You see that? So people run with these things, and at the end of the day, when the case go the different way, and people say, well, that Liberia, things have done this, in fact, they have grabbed the court, they have do this. But why can we sometimes follow some procedures? You know, if the boy was living with the pastor, as the mother said, and this have happened, he died in the process. Like she said, they took him to the hospital, the pastor called her, and she went there, you know. Uh, at the end of the day, the boy passed away. Now, if you want to do an investigation or further check as a family? That is very simple. You could ask the hospital and say, well, we are not satisfied with the way in which our son, passed away. So we want to do further
Mhm.
check, or we want you to tell us, what's the actual cause of his death. But for someone to just make a very grave allegations and say because the boy lived with the pastor, so he's the one responsible, for whatever happened to him. I don't know. I think we should not be very fast to come up with some of these things, because you playing with somebody's character. So if now like the court will be coming up with different thing, and it's already in the public, like the court of public opinion is one of the strongest court ever. So if people in the public will come up with certain information and say this is it, to get it from them is very difficult. It's very difficult. Like our society, Liberia, people do not care about getting information that are authentic. So when they follow certain thing and somebody have said this, they live by that. They follow that. So for people to just make statement or allegations on people, sometimes for me, I'm very careful on that. Because once they go in the
Exactly.
public and the people have grabbed that to get it off their mind, it is quite difficult. So anything that happened afterward, people will believe that something took place there, something was being compromised because the court of public opinion have already done their own judgment and say, well, we found this man guilty. He's the one who did it. At. So when you go
Of
to the
course.
traditional court now, the same way we have it with the media, the traditional media and the community, journalism rather, that's the same way with the court. So the court of public opinion will come up with their own, judgment and say this man is guilty. And when they go to the traditional court where they follow all of their process and go through all of the, let's say, hospital, proceeding, other thing, when they found out that that was not the case, when they come up with their ruling, people in the court of public opinion will say, no, we don't agree with it. The case was being compromised. So this is the kind of challenges that we continue to have in our country, but we just urge some of these media platform or people who think that they are advocating for us to sometimes be careful. If you have any other information, we accept the fact that some of them are contributing immensely, to the goal of Liberia because some of the things that they have advocated on, we have seen some of the things changing. That's perfect. That's good. We appreciate that. But let us be careful with how sometimes we want information, Williams. And this is just
Exactly.
what happened to this case. It went faster, and now that we're seeing some shape, people will come up with different statement again on this.
Ayuka, most of my colleagues will always say you very slow in breaking the news. I'll be like, as a journalist, you have to investigate. If you want to be an investigative journalist, you should always be able to listen to both sides. Or maybe if it's more than one side you need to listen to and investigate, you have to do that. You have to be patient because you want to be credible. Not want to be, but the profession call for you to be credible. So the thing is, it's not about breaking the news, as you said, James. It's about getting the right information for your audience to disseminate very well. So the thing about waking up, and let me tell you something about Mountain. I would say this: Mountain is not in country. Mountain gets his information from people on ground. So if you text Mountain with a picture or text Mountain about anything of investigation, he's not here. He might not even be able to reach those people to verify, except top ranking officials. So if Martin trusts you, you've been giving information before, all he's gonna do is to take the information and post it on his platform because he trusts his source already. And that's one thing that has been very bad for what has happened, that there was not proper level of investigation into the matter, and a media institution waking up to report something that we have conflicting information. The court is saying something different, the family is saying something different, and right after you break a news first, without waiting, especially these kind of legal situation, it also puts you in a space as a journalist to tell you how, you know, how will I say, how you have put yourself into something. And I feel like this morning video was something to make it look like you want to cover up your errors you've made.
Yeah,
And
you're right. You're right.
you cannot cover up your error you've made because you already rushed to break the news. And again, if you want to rush to break the news, that's why I say the life
Yeah.
nowadays is causing serious problem for social media. Life is causing serious problem for journalists because you want to
Mm-hmm.
go there, do live, people watch it quick. So when you finish doing that one, the people that have watched that live, even if the next person want to give you the audience or the time to talk to them, you might not have the same group of people. So the best thing
Yeah.
to do, like way back, you have to go, you record the first person, you go look for the next
Mm-hmm.
man, you record, unbind your clips, edit well, and go and play for the radio. So people gets to understand, listen to these people talking one after the other and make it look very okay. And that shows how serious minded investigative journalism should be. Not about waking up one morning and one little man called me, oh my son, why if you listen to all the good the person have done, what if they have feel apart from something small that make it obvious it can happen. I will
Of
raise a
course.
alarm and you go to prison for something you haven't done. Again, I'm not saying that is the case, but I'm saying we as human, we are capable of creating situation and situation for people. So we as journalists, they should be a clear example. This is not the first. Of recently, again, a colleague of mine was in a serious situation for reporting something he shouldn't have reported about a
Yeah.
demolition process, and is giving some hard
And I
time.
think I
So
think I
yeah,
think it's still haunting him. In fact,
yeah,
I
yeah,
saw him post.
yeah,
It's still haunting him.
yeah, yeah. And I was like, you shouldn't be like this as a journalist. If you want to be a politician, you be a politician and stop spoiling the profession for people who wants to be a professional people. You cannot be a journalist and you reporting your story that is not balanced. We talk about balancing your story. So I think whatever the court is saying, the family too is saying different thing. It level the court and the family to be able to handle their situation. And I know at the end of the day, we might see some level of staging protests and whatever happens. But we are just giving our own opinion and our little knowledge that we have to be able to share here about these situations and these issues. So James, I know you also followed the small mobile uh, bill he put forth on the floor at the level of,
We also look at promote fair labor.
let me move this, that he put forth at the House of Representative, and waiting for final stage to be done with that bill so that it can be passed into law, just in case, and you know everything can be done as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, as soon as possible. So I don't know if we should just play this clip a little bit, and when we get back now, we can dive deep
Yeah.
into.
Just play a little bit. Even though I followed it earlier on, but let's
Yeah.
just play for the audience.
Uh,
It stimulates local economic activity through increased purchasing power. It strengthens industrial relationship between employer and employee, and bring Liberia labor standard in line with International Labor Organization Convention. So, we are saying to our people, this is what we have to offer. And the House of Representatives did extremely well. All 73 lawmakers supported this bill, and I think it's in the interest of our people. And we also look up to the Senate. And I would like to take this appeal to the Senate. I think our being here is not just about those instruments that they sent to us, that we pass those instruments, those agreements. I think it's about the left of our people. And I will say this, if the salary is not commensurate with the living standard. You can have all of the good rules. You can have all of the good institution. But if I cannot have a job to pay tuition, if I cannot have a job to buy my kids' school,
Man, saying if you can't have a job. Yeah, so before you come in, James, the thing is, I listened to this and I spoke with one of my colleague who is at the House of Representative as a reporter, and he said one thing that the lawmakers Small Mobile said was the fact that the current decent wage or minimum bill says $3 50 cent or $5 whatever, and when you add everything, it sum up to $150 for skilled and unskilled workers. And the thing is, I can say, in as much as these people will pass all these bills, that's one, right? Number two, before I jump into that, number two is I asked the colleague of mine. So because I did my own research, listening, and he said, oh, the man said around 250 at most would be okay. And I was like, if even you would say 250, it's not enough. But again, is the economy, is the country we find ourselves, and we cannot, build our system as in accordance with people in the West. But I think we are so rich to allow people come here, and or even if you want to get a domestic worker, you pay them set amount. But again, I think it's something commendable as well, because moving from $150 to probably 250 or maybe above that, I don't know if they pass the bill, will be able to get further information and be able to see our final view or whatever view we have at that time. But firstly, I must commend Representative Small Mobile. The first time I listened to him, he talked about this initiative was on Punch FM. I was present, and it was almost like a debate between he and an individual who worked in the labor sector, and he spoke lengthily. Smart young man there. But the thing is, they the people who passed the laws back then for Liberia, they didn't do well for us. I think the same way they didn't do well for us, that the same mistakes, most of the laws we are passing, most of our laws the lawmakers are passing, I don't. The past laws, we are looking at the future effect of those instruments that pass. Because at the time, $150 was more than enough for that economy that could feed a whole family and still have enough left. So they said $150 was enough. Now that we're in a struggling economy, if we even say 300 to 400, it's still not enough. Do you know how much to live just in the city? Before I talk about people in the rural area, things are hard. Even the people who used to hunt meat, all the meat never run here with now. So I think there's more needs to be done to that bill. If the bill would need some rectification, other lawmakers should be able to help. I think one main reason he said was the constituents always giving them hard time because what they're working for, and the same thing was being said about Senator Dillon. They face the serial impact of the entire thing because the people feel that they're already making the money, so they go to pay them. So I think we, me, I personally want to commend Representative Small Mobile and ask him to be able to let his colleague do some little changes and improve some things that we think that needs to be improved in terms of what people can earn, or what people will be able to earn if the bill is passed, and how well are they going to implement these things. We still have areas around here that up to present they say government should pay, or let's say private sector should pay skilled and unskilled worker $150, and they are not making those money. So that why everybody won't become lawmaker now, because you can work in the private sector and even buy yourself a car, build yourself a nice decent house, aside from buying a car. So if you ask, I was asking one of my community sisters, son, just a little kid, he was like, "Me, I won't be senator when I grow up." So I told him, "Is that a profession?" It's not a profession, but everybody feels that that's the place in politics the money is. So we all have to go into politics. But if you ask other people across the West, you won't even hear a young person easy to talk about politics because they built their system that even attract us to go and just live our life there and forget about our own country. So I think we can be able to adapt those ideas. In fact, the people use we as black people to be able to get to a level that they wanted to get to and start developing their country to attract people to go and live there. And when you go there, you will spend enough money more than you can in Africa. So yeah, I'll stop right there, and that is it, James. But it's a good initiative from Representative Small Mobile.
Yeah, so like you said, it is indeed a good one for the fact that he has taken this, bold step, and I think other lawmakers as well, to include our senators, can also, add up to what he have begun. They could amend it yet because it's not passed yet. They could add other things to it and say let's upgrade it to this level, because like one area he stressed about, right? Somebody is working, let's say, in a cold storage, and then the person will work. At the end of the day, when they leave that job, they don't have nothing to take home, whereas they have, you know uh live in that cold, going in the cold storage. The place is very cold. They'll work for sometimes 10 years with these people. They'll work for 12 years. At the end of the day, when they have been taken from that job, nothing to carry home. So if, let's say, like you talk about the NASCOP, right? If these companies will be registered and then taking at least a percentage from the salaries of these individuals that will be working, and at the end of the day, if the guy is leaving a job, you can be able to at least have a benefit. You can go and start a different life with that. I think these are things that are important. Like, I've been able to engage with some security personnel. It will interest you to know that some of them have worked for 10 years, some have worked for 15 years without unemployment. Imagine that. 10 years to 15 years, the guys have not been employed. They work with a bank. They work with the LPDR bank, but it's a security firm that they are owning. The guys work there. They have worked for this amount of year. They have not been employed by the security firm. And at the end of the day, I was asking them. I said, "But why, just in case, you know, you having to leave the job, or let's say something happened and then you lost your job? What would be the benefit?" And the guys were like, "We're just managing it." Imagine, imagine someone who should be taking around 300. The bank is paying 300, but it will interest you to know that the security firm is just giving a man $75. Imagine that. Somebody who should be taking 300 United States dollars. It will interest you to know that the man is taking $75 while the security firm is taking that huge money. And even if he loses a single day, or maybe he sleeps on a job, they are going to take away sometimes 2,000, sometimes 1,000, sometimes $10 from the man money. So these are all things that are affecting people, but again, people are being constrained to just keep working. Like my father, because he worked with the medical area at the CH Running Hospital. He was treating one of the security, and then right after his treatment, the guy said, "Well, he have to rush back to work. He's a security person here." And I was like, "Do you want to kill yourself?" But the guy is saying that once he missed a single day or two, they are going to replace him. So people are working. The job security is not even being provided. Job security is not there. Nothing to guard them. The Ministry of Labor, who should be guiding these people and say, well, if you take somebody, the person work for you, like they already have the laws. It's not something that we should be singing all around every day. And the Ministry of Labor has a law for that. You can't take somebody and the person work for more than 10 years, no employment. Imagine that. So there are laws already, like we have said, Liberia have good laws on the book. Implementation, that is what is lacking. Again, this is a good one that the lawmaker is coming up with, small more by. It may be passed or not, but even if when it's passed, are these things going to happen? Will it be implemented? Will it be pushed to the higher level? Will they really enforce it to so that it can also affect the life of the people? That's the problem we have. So you have people who have been pushed to suffer to just do some work that they are doing in this country that nobody will even want to do. Nobody in their right mind will want to do. But no opportunities. So they are being constrained to doing this job. Imagine you doing security job, $60 somebody paying you, but you miss one day, the man say will fire you. No job security. So the man is thinking, he was like, Dad, if I just miss this one day, tomorrow or so you hear that I'm fired. So I will come and sit back home. So even if I'm sick, dying, I still have to go. And I really felt, so sad that we live in our own country but live as a slave, because that's a slavery work. People who will go to other country and they are not having that security. Those are people who will want to do work like that. But I can live in my own country and I live like a slave. So the laws are already there, but the laws are not protecting us. The laws are not working for us. And that has been a major problem for Liberia. So again, with this one, will it be passed? Yes, of course, it might be, because other lawmakers will see the need and say, well, I think this is good for our people. If their pay or their salary can be increased, it's a good thing. They will see the need. It will be passed. Will it work? That's the question to ask. So that's the area where we are. That's the junction where we are. And our country keeps struggling with these things, for our
Mm.
people. So at the end of the day, people will still have to go to the hospital and die because of, poor health facilities. People will still have to go there and die because some of them may not even have the money to say, well, let me go for the better treatment. I'm taking $75. If I sleep on the joint, they take 2,000 from there, or they take this. What will leave there for me? So even if I'm suffering from certain sickness, I'm going to die with that sickness. This is how our country has been. What we look for the best is a good law. I mean, it's a good bill. We're hoping that they can just add some things and let it be enforced. That's all I can say, Williams.
Uh, like you said, and quickly, I wanted to, stress on one thing, and the thing is, basically, most of the jobs that are in this country, there is no proper system as to how government is even tracking these jobs, as to how many persons are working. In America today, if you get in the states and you get employed by or employee right away, you will have to provide a social security number. And once you provide your social security number, they are going to enter that into their system, and the government will have to take whatever fees they have to take for your social security. In a way, you get to know that William is working one job. William works two jobs in America. And you know how many persons are employed or on contract. Because if the person is a contractor, the entity will have to tell them. But here, it don't even work like that. I work with one
Mm-hmm.
institution and they said, "Oh, how much we can pay you? How much you think we can pay you?" And I told them, they said, "Okay, we start you on probation with this." I agree. When normal Liberian thing where I expect my money to arrive, they say, "Oh, we have to take government tax, we have to pay social security." And I said, "But you didn't even ask me if I do have social security number, because you can't
Mm-hmm.
take social security from
So
me."
who is that money going to?
And then you say
Who is
you
that money
sending
going
it.
to?
Who
Why in
who
case you leave
account
the
is
job?
going to NASCAR, if you say so.
Mm-hmm.
So you see, this is one thing the government really needs to do. Be able to put in some implementations and be able to, how you call it, understand how they can be able to go ahead with doing the right thing, and not just doing the right thing, but when this bill is passed into law, let there be full implementation. If you register as a company, meaning you have to employ how many persons you have on your employee list, be able to submit. Let government be able to check. Let labor ministry be able to check as to how you are paying these people and how much that is going into their social security account. Do you think how other country are developed? Because you can work. I'm a young man now. You get a job, you work 25 years. You have nothing to show. Even when you're sick, you got nowhere to put your hands and go and take funds to go to hospital. Yeah. So Alabira, and
Mm.
yeah, it's good. It's good to know. So James, let's just call it a day. Let's get your closing comments.
Yeah, it has been a wonderful show today. And again, I want to say many thanks to our viewers, those of you who are watching this show. This is the roundtable, and we are grateful to be a part of this, platform in helping to also contribute to our country. Like I've said always to people that no matter what we do, we are all Liberians, and the growth of Liberia depend on all of us. It's not an individual thing. So we can help to make this country better. No one can do it better than us. So if there is something that you observe that is wrong, right? If you are in that position to making it right, do it because it matters your country, it matters your people. It may not be you personally, but your auntie, your uncle, your brother, or your sister could be involved one day. It may be the health sector. If you have an opportunity, let's say you're serving as a health minister or you're serving as a police director, and you know that when you do something, it's going to have a greater impact, just do it for your people. Don't think about, politics and all of that, because one of these days, you're not going to be involved with politics. And if anything that happens, you too will be a part of it. So I just want to, conscientize all of us Liberians that we have that responsibility to making this country better. And let's do our best to always keeping the peace. So Williams has been a wonderful time, and we look forward to being here again this Thursday by God's willing.
Thank you so much, James. And it's a pleasure. All of these things we talk about, and most of the legal ones are our own opinions. We are not speaking for any justice or legal house here. We are speaking for ourselves. We'll be on here Thursday, by God's willing, to talk more uh, about the program and about Liberia as a whole. Thanks for being there. My name is William. This is how we like to call this a day here on the program, the round table.
I can't stand no more, cause I'm a fool. I cannot go to school, cause no more money. I can't stand no more, cause I'm a fool. I cannot go to school, cause no more money. Hey yo, excuse me Mr. Journalist, I wonder how you make your headlines in the press release today. Although I read the news every day, but I'm really still getting confused now. And I just wanna ask you some questions. Oh, is it based on money? Is it based on presidency? Is it based on technology? Is it based on war? Tell me, we gotta make your headline. Oh,